Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with a top 5 video for you, and today we might have us some fun. We're going to list down, or I'm going to list down, and you're going to listen to me list down my picks for the top 5 best Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. Now when I say best, it's a loose word. And I should point out, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, Tobe Hooper's film, is my personal favorite superhero. Okay, I'm thinking fast as I'm talking here. Horror movie of all time. In my previous top 5 videos, my personal favorite horror movies of all time, as well as the best horror films of the 1970s, it ranked number 1. While there are definitely horror films that I've seen more times, like Scream, films that I think are more thought-provoking or provocative in general, like The Thing or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, there are more artful and compelling and prestige horror films that I respect very much. Movies like Parasite, Silence of the Lambs, I had another one in my head, just went right out the window. Black Swan is what I was thinking of. And there's horror films like, The Cabin in the Woods, where I got a huge smile on my face the entire fucking time. And then there's the genuine horror films that even in my mid-30s can give me nightmares and have me, being really tentative about going outside to walk my dog at night. Insidious. Or Insidious. But it's also important to keep in mind that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even the original, isn't what is considered a good movie. It's considered a classic for its genre, for its field. And not even in the circle of horror people and horror fans are the sequels highly acclaimed. When I did research and checked out, stuff about, the Metacritic, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, stuff like that, in that nature. To look how all these movies ranked poll-wise in favorites. Not surprising at all. The original holds, a solid 3.5 stars. Which you could round up to like a 7.5, And the the remake, the 2003 remake, is number 2. And the absolute bottom one is one of my favorites. And I'll get to that in a minute. Now, like I said, I'm doing the sequels because I have covered the original. I love it very much. And the next time I talk about it after this video will be for a retro review. If I can get time to watch that movie without my kids around, because they're not allowed to see that movie. No way in hell. Anyhow. Wow, what a bizarre run these films have had. I mean, we are talking, there's been... And a sequel is anything that has come after the original movie. Now, of course, that wouldn't work for, something like the MCU. We say, if you were saying, Doctor Strange is, the 17th sequel or whatever to Iron Man, that's not really right. It's not really fair. It's not the same thing. But this franchise is so batshit insane. We know, for one thing, is all revolved around Leatherface and his family, even though their name has gone from the Sawyers to the Hewitts. I will call them the Sawyers if I address them in this video, just because that's my preferred timeline. But yes, we have had sequels, we have had prequels, we have had remakes, reboots, re-releases. We have movies with alternate titles and titles with alternate spelling. This is a batshit crazy franchise, so let's get into it. And remember, my personal pick, so fuck you. Number 5, I'm saying Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 from 1990, 1991. This is a bad movie. This is a bad movie, but it has a lot of things I like going for it. It has some pretty solid, intense scenes. I love the scene where the guy's trying to assemble his weapon while the Sawyer family member guy with the one hand is waiting for him. I can't remember a lot of these characters' names, or actors' names either, but who ones I do, I'm going to point out. But I revisited the entire franchise last fall, I think it was. and just completely out of order and jumped around. So they're all pretty fresh in my mind still. And I don't usually go. And I saw the first one most recently, at least in January, February, before I moved. Uh, the like it seems he was trying to put a gun together while the guy's waiting for him. And he just constant building. Of course, the car ends up running into him. He can't put the gun together. Great, cool scene like that. Some really intense torture scenes, some pretty dark humor in a few scenes. The torture scene I like because it's treated very much like, it's so mechanical. I mean, they're sadistic, but they're just working. It's not the giggling, cackling about it that you got in the original movie. Playing more just straightforward, just time to prepare dinner kind of thing, which is just as dark and insane in my opinion, but just in a different way. And then of course there's the inclusion of Ken Fiore, who's just a horror legend. I think Viggo Mortensen delivers maybe the most chilling performance of the whole franchise. He's genuinely scary in this movie. The only thing that really slows it down is they tease that he's just going to be another guy, another body count early in the film, and no, you're not buying it. But I mean, Viggo's very, very, very good in this, and he took a lot of things into he just was one of those kind of actors. Like he brought his own mind and his own additions to the character, apparently the way Tet's dressed and little things like wearing fingernail polish with stuff. Viggo wanted to add to the role, and of course it was. He's just that kind of guy. Viggo's great. But it's a movie like I said, it's really awful, but I kind of love it. And I do love, it's an insane, ridiculous fucking performance. But Brother Alfredo is terrific in that movie. And it's cool that they apparently rewrote or reshot the ending to have Ken Fiore's character live, just to and it not go anywhere with those characters ever again. You just finally, a horror movie character who lives and just gets to get away and go live their life. How about that? Number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning from 2006. Now, when I first saw this movie, I absolutely hated it. But when I revisited it last year, it was one of the ones I actually had the best time with. I'll get to the 2003 remake, but I had a lot of problems with that movie. And to me, this was getting to revisit, this sequel or prequel, got to revisit the things that I liked about the 2003 movie, the things I thought worked about it, without walking over the shit I liked about the original film, which the 03 movie did, which I'll talk more about, depending how long this video goes. But yeah, the 2006 film, The Beginning, getting to see, I liked to a degree, getting to see the turn of desperation to where the Sawyer family decided, or in this version, the Hewletts, decided to start eating people for survival. And it is approached like that. It is for survival. I mean, there's less and less, where this is a dying town, there's no more jobs, there's barely any livestock around, but there are a lot of passerbys. A lot of people just drive through and get lost around here. Like I said, Arlie Ermey returning, he's terrific. Andrew Bernardsky is the second best Leatherface of all time. He's absolutely great in the role, he really is. The addition of, come on, I adore Jordana Brewster. I love her. She's just gorgeous and stunning to me. And her as the final girl was great. No, she doesn't last long. She's the final girl, but she don't make it. I thought the car crash scene that kicked off the catalyst of the movie at the beginning, that really kicked catalyst everything. I thought that was really intense and well done. I like how it's a burglary that the Sawyers roll up on and then take advantage and just take everybody with them. That was great. I like the addition of having a draft dodger dealing with that conflict. It was a very, very real thing in that era of American history, the early 70s, late 60s. Vietnam. And I liked that in the era of, like, right in the middle of the Saw franchise, I think the same year as Hostel, maybe like the same month Hostel came out. I liked having, definitely the same year Hostel came out. I liked having the torture scenes were so much more psychological when he's beating the guy with a baton across the back while making him do push-ups, where he there's blood when he stabs, where they put, aluminum foil around the guy's mouth and leaves him to suffocate, then stabs him in the mouth and cuts his tongue up real bad to let him breathe. I mean, I like that shit. I like the scene where the girl's just chained to the kitchen table in the middle of the day while the old ladies are having a perfectly pleasant Sunday afternoon conversation. It's tea time for them. I liked those scenes. I thought I had a lot going for it. And and like I said, Bryansky and Arlie Ermy are great additions to the franchise in general. Number 3, Leatherface, the most recent film in the franchise from 2017 or 2018. I think it was 2017. Get out of the way now. The fucked up twist. The whatchamacallit, bait and switch they did with you. Now that may be far more effective. Unfortunately, that was ruined for me. Before I saw somebody told me that they bait and switch. The Leatherface ended up being the handsome young guy instead of the big mute killer. But it's all made up for it to me with just a couple of not made up for, but a couple additions work really good. The kid who plays Leatherface, well, even though he's nothing like Leatherface, once he gets the injury, the mutilation to his face, and gets the saw, oh man, oh, the kid's great. Once he becomes Leatherface for the third act, it's like, oh wow, kid, you just go, man. It was good. It was really good. He's easily the smallest guy to ever play Leatherface. But you couldn't tell him that just by the way he carried himself and moved. He was really great. He was really good in it. Lily Taylor as Leatherface's mother was terrific. Getting to see the old man and the hitchhiker as teenagers was fucking twisted. I thought I liked that. I liked the kind of the setting the seeds of the long rivalry the Sawyer family had, I believe, with the Bennetts. Or am I getting that mixed up with the Feud family on Justified? I'm not sure. But they had a family they're feuding with in the most recent films. And just how the on-the-road 1950s setting really, to me, gave it this vibe, this stark weather American crime vibe to it, and I just loved it. I loved all that, and the diner shootout was brutal, better than the one in Natural Born Thrillers, I would say, which is a very overrated movie, in my opinion. But yeah, it's still got shit going, awful shit about it, but I really enjoyed the movie. Number 2, Texas Chainsaw 3D. Fuck you, I don't care. I loved it. I love that goddamn movie. I love the rehashing, the rebranding, going back to a direct sequel of the original film. I like Dan Yeager's Leatherface. I loved the setting of, instead of it being an old rundown farmhouse, it's this huge southern manor with a giant gate. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be a plantation because it doesn't really look like a plantation house, but it's probably supposed to be a plantation house. The girl, Alexandra Daddario, is absolutely fucking terrific. She's amazing. I would say the best performance from a final girl in all of these movies. Maybe the best performance in general of the whole franchise, to tell you the truth. I like the setting. I like the slow burn. When shit goes crazy, I like how Leatherface just wipes through them quick. And the bulk of the movie is down to her revealing the reveal of what happened to the family, to her, who she really is, his long-lost cousin. And eventually, the Saw's family, comes around, and, that great fucking ending to that movie, the two of them just walking home, and her basically tucking him into bed. Cousin Heather's gonna take care of you now, Jed. Loved it. I loved Leatherface. I thought Texas Chainsaw. It has the lowest ratings. It has like a 4.6 on IMDb. I don't give a shit. I love that movie. Absolutely love it. And number one. Number one is probably the only Texas Chainsaw sequel outside of the original that gets genuine respect. And that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. There's a lot to like about this movie. It's not. Well, okay. I like Carolyn Williams. She's terrific as Stretch, and Dennis Hopper is an insane addition. But the thing everybody goes nuts about in this movie is Bill Moseley as Chop Top. He's absolutely insane. I guess the idea is supposed to be the birthmark, the hitchhiker's brother, but he was in Vietnam at the time of that film. Okay, cool. the insane, disturbed humor. But the additions of the goddamn, the huge underground layer that they've basically taken an abandoned amusement park and turned to their hideout. The way that their chili is now like state championship chili. That's great. And what else? What was I mentioned? Oh, the fact that character-wise, setup character-wise, it's an utter change. The original film, we have 5 teenagers get lost in the woods. This movie is about a detective and a DJ investigating the murders and then end up getting trapped in this place. It is super-duper fucking badass and genuinely unique in the addition to the franchise, even with all the films that came after it. And it's my number one sequel. The other 2 movies I'll talk about. Okay, first off, I get out of the way the 2003 movie. I really most harp on it is because when I went to see it at the theaters, it was just like heartbreaking. I had really annoying teenagers sitting behind me in the movie theaters. I spent a lot of money. It was just all around a really depressing experience when I first saw it. I still stand by what I don't like about the movie. I do like the house. Now, the house in that movie looks like an old plantation house. Jessica Biel is really terrific in it. Arlie Ermey is a great addition. Again, Bryansky, he's excellent in it. And I don't know if I mentioned the cinematography, but I thought the cinematography was terrific. What I didn't like about the movie, I thought the kills were accidentally laughable. I thought it was, in all honesty, really rubbed me the wrong way that they kind of went out of their way to make all the kids not from Texas. I mean, in the original movie, 3 of those kids grew up from around there. This was their neck of the woods, their stomping ground, and I just kind of felt that was some South hate. That's how I took it. That's how it came off. So that's how I took it. I know offense can only be taken, so I took it. I took offense to it. So there. And I think it's easy to say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, or The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is easily the worst film in the franchise. It looks like a fan-made film. It has the worst Leatherface in the whole setup. And despite having future Academy Award winners in the leads, Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, the movie was not actually released till a good 2 or 3 years after it was wrapped. And even though it's Razzie worthy, I kind of love McConaughey in that he's just so absurdly over the top and ridiculous. It's not scary. It's laughable. It's funny as hell. It has to be seen. It's something you just have to see if you're a horror fan. That goes for this whole franchise. Anyhow, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I did a top 5 best Friday the 13th movies last year or 2, so go check out that one if you like this. I got all kinds of top 5, got all kinds of videos, got plenty of top 5 horror videos. Check them out. I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.